everyone, my name is Sarah and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've had the hardest time recording this, but here we are. I tried to be fancy and use Discord and OBS, but I couldn't figure it out at the moment. So I switched to Zoom. Good old faithful Zoom. So here we are. Today I have my friend Matt with me. Say hi, Matt.
Hey, everybody.
He's been on the podcast before, so if he looks familiar, that's why. Today, we're going to be talking about our favorite Nintendo Switch games. We're going to kind of give you a little overview of them. We're going to kind of bounce our favorites back and forth to each other. There probably be some overlap, but that's okay. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. I'll start. So, my first favorite on here is probably no surprise to anybody in the world, but I put Animal Crossing New Horizons on. So if you don't know and you've been hiding under a rock, it was released in March of 2020, and I stole some information off of Wikipedia for this, but it is the fifth main game in the Animal Crossing series. In New Horizons, the player controls a customizable character who moves to a deserted island after purchasing a package from Tom Nook, a Tanuki character who has appeared in every entry in the Animal Crossing series. Taking place in real time, the player can explore an island in a non-linear fashion, gathering and crafting items, catching insects and fish, and developing the island into a community of anthropomorphic anthropomorphic animals. So, little backstory. I got New Leaf for a gift in 2013. I played it a lot. It got me through college. And so when New Horizons was released, Jeremy bought it for me. So yeah, I don't play it as much as I played New Leaf, but I still play it a lot. I actually got on it today for the first time in like a month, and I had a lot of weeds, and they were all really excited to see me because they thought I ditched them. But yeah, I have a lot to catch up on. So it actually received acclaim from critics, with many praising its gameplay and customization options and calling it the best game in the series. It won the award for Game of the Year at the Japan Game Awards and received 3 nominations at the Game Awards in 2020, including the Game of the Year, ultimately winning the Best Family Game.
Yeah, I'd have to say it's a pretty good game. From what I've played on the Switch, I have definitely played Animal Crossing New Horizons as well. Not nearly as much as you. I kind of grinded it out for, I think, 2, maybe 3 months when it first released. It was very well done. Graphics were great. I didn't really have any, I don't think, issues overall with the game, other than the fact that it was fairly time consuming in and around daily life.
Yeah, it's like you have a
But the
second
fact,
life.
basically, it's hard enough to keep up with one sometimes. But it was good. But yeah, where I grinded it too so much shortly after its release when I got it, I kind of burnt myself out of it. And then I don't think really, I think I checked on it twice since I last played it. Like last really, really played it, like, I don't know, sometime maybe summer, early fall last year.
Yeah.
So if I went back now, they'd probably like hate me or call some necromancy crap saying that I'm a ghost coming back from the dead. I don't know. I don't know what it would do if
Some
I
of
came
them
back
get
now.
really sad and they're just like, I thought you left me forever. And then some of them are like, oh, hi. It's great.
I mean, they kind of rip you off with everything. You're just a simple island. Like, you literally choose to become the guinea pig to just go to this deserted island and just, I don't know, start a civilization. But he's
And he
like,
makes you
yeah,
do everything.
it's like, you're gonna have to do everything, build the entire island up. You're basically gonna start with a tent. Nothing else is gonna be on the map except for like some people selling stuff on rugs. Uh, those are your merchants. Um, you somehow have a dock for a plane to, I don't know, for a plane to show up and land. Don't even know how they got that built if all you have is a tent.
I
But
don't know.
So you have all this stuff from scratch, and he expects you to still somehow pay for everything. Somehow, I don't. You're like, do all this super hard, long manual labor, and you get points that you can spend on goodies.
And the
While I
points
sit
come
behind
back
my
to
desk.
me. I get it
And
all
then
back in the end.
he just sits behind his desk. Like, oh, you
Uh-huh.
need more stuff? Here, go carve a hole in this mountain or something. I don't know.
Here's a ladder and a pole vault where you can actually reach the rest of your island. Here you go.
God forbid you get a bridge of sort anytime soon. No. You have to pole vault. If that were real life, I'd be screwed. I probably would end up in the river every time.
And then in the ocean. And yeah. I wouldn't
Yeah.
survive.
I'd have been dead from scorpions and spiders all the time. Like I wouldn't live, to be honest.
Mhm.
But otherwise, it's a great game.
I had
Fantasy
so
wise,
much
it's a great game.
fun at the when we were all playing it together, like 4 of us, we were all like in our Easter egg costumes, and
I forgot about this.
it was so fun.
We each picked a different egg costume and rolled with it. Uh, that was pretty cool though. That you could go anybody you're friends with on the Switch. You could go and to their islands and hang out with them. You know, catch stuff on their island. Blah 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 blah. Just throw different parties together. You know, it was a lot of fun. I know a
Mhm.
lot of YouTubers and stuff have gotten with their friends and they've somehow set up little games they can do. They've done scavenger hunts on there. And it's all sorts of little fun games and things. So
That's an
it's
idea.
cool. It's what everybody's come up with.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like everybody played this game, and like to a point, it's kind of been like I felt like New Leaf was like sacred, you know. Like of course, like a lot of people played it, but like not like New Horizons, you know, because it came out at like the
Hmm.
beginning of quarantine, and everybody was bored. And I'm glad everybody's sharing it, but at the same time, you see all these fancy islands, and you're just kind of like, mm, maybe maybe I just won't. Still a great game though.
Yeah, makes you feel like your island's just like a giant pile of crap.
Trash. I did achieve a 5-star rating though. I will say.
Oh, well, aren't you special?
I am.
I would say that I probably got a 1-star rating. I'd probably have a -5 right now, to
Weeds
say the least.
everywhere.
They're probably just growing in my house, honestly, now.
I had cockroaches today.
Ew.
I had to step on them. Yeah. It's
Oh,
fun.
they don't even give you raid. You don't get any bottles of raid.
You have to run around and step on them. I walked in my house and the character was just like,
For how long of a
hey.
game it is, I mean, it's really simple to talk about, though.
Yeah. It's like real
I
life.
mean, yeah,
It's like, man, I caught this
it's a
huge
game.
fish the other day.
It's a game for all ages too. I mean, that's what's great about it. A lot of people don't think that, you know, games, if it covers like some of the younger age range, that they would necessarily like it if they're somebody that's a little bit older. Um, but I've come to find out that's, to me at least, that's kind of wrong. A lot of games that are similar to that and in like its play style and everything, they're actually a lot of fun. I just tend to play them either too much or I get to the point where it's like customizing, moving everything around, and constantly rearranging is too much, and then I just stop playing
Right.
for a while. So, but otherwise, I mean, it's a great game. That's the first one of the series I had ever played. I had seen stuff on them before, but yeah, because of quarantine, a couple buddies of mine had kind of talked all of us into getting it, and we started playing together. So I
Yeah.
was like, sure, why not? Something to
What
do.
else am I gonna do? Yeah.
Besides that and work and sleep, I mean, gotta have
Yeah.
something to come home to do.
We
So
should go to your island one day just to see what it looks like.
if I brought you to my island, I guarantee you'd spawn in and you just see them running by with torches and pitchforks chasing me, screaming like witchcraft or something,
I'm ready for it.
coming back from the dead. They'll just
I'm ready
chase me
for
in
it
the
though.
oceans. I get eaten by sharks. Just I don't know. I'll just go find another scorpion and get stabbed again. Those things were such a pain. Oh man, for all the Switch games that I have played, which isn't a crazy amount, I have a few, but not a crazy amount. My top one would probably have to be. It's a series called YS. This specific one, I think, was the first one made for the Nintendo Switch. I played one of the earlier games years and years ago on PlayStation Portable, the PSP. But it's called YS. This one was YS8 Lacrimosa of Dana. It's an excellent story based RPG. So you're basically just this swordsman who goes on these crazy adventures in every game. Each one's different, but they're all kind of tied into a linear timeline. So each one takes place so long after the next. Like whether you finish one game and he's on a boat traveling to a different region and something else happens and it starts like the next game or whatever. Um, this one, you just kind of get stranded on an island. Your boat that you're traveling on just gets attacked by this sea creature, and you get stranded on an island that nobody's ever been to and made it back from. Nobody, if you got too close, all these boats have disappeared over the years and stuff. Um, but you get pulled into this whole world-ending apocalypse type deal with what comes to be like a tree of life type scenario that tries to wipe out every race that becomes the new dominating race of the world. Um, it decides whether it's worthy or not to stay or says screw you, you guys get to die. But there's you run around in a party of three, and each character has a different skill and fighting style. And you can there's six different characters, and you can just pick a different combination of each and go from there. And certain enemies require certain characters, so you really don't want any characters that are similar in skill type. But I actually 100% of the game. It took a lot of work. Um, there's a lot to do. Doing everything without just speed running it. I would say it's at least a good 60-hour game.
Really?
Time to play. Yeah, it's graphics are amazing on it. That's what really drew me in to keep playing it as I kept playing it and playing it. Each new area, just looking around the island and stuff, was just breathtaking. Breathtaking. I don't you don't typically see that in a lot of games, nature wise and stuff. Um, Usually, it's kind of what's right around you is really well done, and then like everything else is just thrown as like I don't know, like a painted background. This was actually fully done, not just what was around you, but even like looking off into the ocean, it still looked completely realistic and everything. Um, and the story was just so in depth. It had a lot of backstory to it that it gave you, of course, through the game, so you could understand everybody's backstory. Um, and it's just to try to live the apocalypse and escape the island and live happily ever after, until the next game comes out and you do it all over again.
That sounds cool. Maybe I'll get that
Yeah,
over like spring break or something. That's my spring break
it'll
award.
definitely keep you busy. Like I said, there's a lot to do. The one that I had played in the series years ago of it, um, it was actually just the main character from this one. It was just him and the other one, older one I've played. It was just him, and you got like three or four different types of swords, each with a different like elemental energy to it for attacking. And still yet again another like a world-ending apocalypse deal that you somehow got your fate intertwined into and tried to stop. So, but yeah, it's definitely a series that's evolved. Looking at this one compared to the older one that I've played, the graphics have definitely come a long way. Considering when the PSP was released versus when the Switch was released, and graphics between the two, I mean, it's just phenomenal. Because this one, it's actually everything's 3D in this one. You can fully rotate your screen. The other one, it was just up, down, left, right. Screen didn't really move unless you changed areas. If you went to the left in one area, the screen would just move over to the right and load the new area. I mean, whatever. So it's definitely come a long way in the series, and it's just so amazing what they can do with graphics nowadays. So
Going back to Animal Crossing for 1 second.
all right.
So I got on New Horizons and I was like, okay, these graphics are cool. But like I didn't think they had changed that much from New Leaf, which was 3DS. And then I got on New Leaf and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't see anything. Like it was a huge difference. And I was like, what? But yeah. Anyway, that was
Yeah,
my
that's
Animal Crossing interjection.
well, that's with a lot of games now. Like you play a game, and I don't know, say like you play a Mario game, like one of the newer ones that's been released in the last 5 or so years. You play one of those now, and then you go back to like an N64 version, and you're like, am I
Yeah.
going blind?
Yeah.
Like the graphics are just insane. Like it's crazy what they've done in the evolution of the graphics industry over like the last decade alone, not to mention, the last 2 to 3 decades. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I have Odyssey
So,
on my list actually, but like we were my brother's playing 64 and I was like, wow, he's so blocky. And then you get Odyssey that has like this whole cityscape in it and you're just like, what?
yeah, and it's not a side scroller either.
No, it's amazing. Like I mean, I guess we can move on to Super Mario Odyssey.
Go right ahead.
That's a good segue. Have you played Super Mario Odyssey?
I have. I've actually beaten it, not 100%, but I've done a heck of a lot
Yeah.
on it.
I did like the main storyline, but I haven't went back. But I want to because it's super good. The music's awesome. All the levels are awesome. It's got great graphics. Um, I mean, like it is a Mario game at the base of it, but yeah, it's still good.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you would expect Mario to be, just 3D, and you get to move
Amazing.
around more than just left and right and up and down.
And yeah, you rescue Peach from Bowser.
As per
Bowser wants
usual.
to marry Peach. But you got this dude named Cappy. He's your hat, and like you can like capture your people, like your surroundings, and you can like control them. And I thought that was really cool. I like that part.
I like the part when he does that, when you do that, it adds Mario's giant mustache to him. So, like, what is it? Like the first, second level, I guess, when you get the T-Rex or whatever, it just puts
That
a
was
giant
awesome.
mustache. Just sticks a giant mustache on him.
I like the end where you capture Bowser. Spoiler alert if you've never played it. You capture Bowser and you gotta like escape the crumbling area around you. I thought that was really cool. And like I liked when it would switch to like 2D side scroller too. Like you go down a pipe and it would switch to the side scroller, like old school Mario. I thought that was a new cool touch. But yeah.
Yeah, as much as I enjoyed this one, yeah, it was a cool touch because it made me really miss the nostalgia of the older side scroller Mario's. And
Yeah.
it's like it made me miss even more more or less the old graphics to it,
Yeah.
more than just the side scrolling. It's like,
True.
man, now I want to go play all the older ones.
Man, those were like simple times. I miss that.
Yeah, really. Like their games are just getting so complex now. It's just they release a simple game and it's just like gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We're so old.
Gosh. I remember hearing the theme song, Jump Up Superstar, and I was like, I need this game. If only for that song, I need this game.
Oh,
And
the
it was so
musician
cool.
inside of us.
Uh-huh. But like, think about it. It's like you're in a city. You have to get all the musicians, and then it's just like they perform it, and then Mario's like side scrolling, and it's phenomenal. So good, man. I've only had one cup of coffee today. I don't know what's going on, but like I'm here for it. I'm here for it. We need energy for this kind of stuff. Okay, what's your next game?
My next game would probably have to. I never really put a list. I'm just kind of putting this in my head as we go. But anyway, um, my next one would probably have to be. It's actually a remake or well, a remastered version of an old one. It was originally for the DS. It's the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Rescue Team DX is what it is. Originally, it was Blue Rescue Team and Red Rescue Team. They just kind of combined it into one and called it Rescue Team DX. Um, but they remastered it and put it on the Switch. So basically, when you start, you just do this simple questionnaire, generic questions like, what would you consider yourself in a friend group? Like, are you the loud one, the quiet one, the leader? Questions kind of relate, personality questions. And based on what you answer, out of all the questions at the end, it chooses a Pokemon for you to start as. Like that's like based on each Pokemon, each of the starter Pokemon has like a certain type to them, like whether they're timid, docile, so on and so forth. Um, and even at the end of the questionnaire, it's still if you're not happy with it, you can say no, and you can and choose your own, or if you want to actually get what you want through the questionnaire, you can just restart and do the questionnaire until you 400,000 times until you get what you want. But once you get what you want, you can choose a partner of any type, but whatever type you are. So if you chose a water type for yourself, you all the water types are kicked off the list, and you can choose from fire, grass, and I think they have a couple others like Ryalu, Meowth. I think Skitty's on there. They threw a couple other
Skitty.
I think they threw a couple other random Pokemon in there. I think Munchlax and Pikachu are in there as well.
Of course,
Which you
Pikachu.
can choose from any of the other ones besides the water type, since that's what you chose. But once you go through, it's just a role playing adventure game type scenario. You go through. There's this intricate story to it. Ultimately, it's somehow trying to save the world from some apocalyptic event. Hint: this is the type of games that I like and play all the time. If it's got an apocalyptic event you're trying to save the world from, I'm down. As you progress, you unlock various dungeons to go through, and each dungeon pertains a different region, whatever, blah blah blah. And it's moving through the dungeon is like a grid-based system. So everything's in like little squares. So you can move left, right, up, down, diagonal if you hold your left and down or left and up, whatever, move diagonal directions. Um, and you can go through the game befriending Pokemon at a random percent chance rate, depending on how rare or whatever stuff goes into that they are. You can befriend others and get more on your team, and eventually you can swap you and your original buddy out and just mix and match different teams. And this game covers legendaries and basic Pokemon up through the Hoenn region, I think. Because, yeah, I think that's all that the first rescue dungeons ever covered. So Kanto, Johto, and Hoenn Pokemon. So you've got however many Pokemon that is. I don't even remember anymore. I think it's like 300 to 500, somewhere in that range for Pokemon that you can try to go through and befriend and fill in your friends list. But
I've
intricate
never
stories
played
and
those.
adventure.
I've never played those,
Highly
but like
recommend.
I need to, yeah. It sounds fun.
Yeah, it's quite a change from the normal Pokemon games, just because you're not capturing, you're befriending. But
Hmm.
yeah, if you like adventure role playing or role playing games, highly recommend. It's up there for me. I've played at least one of the games from every generation of them they released. Also, when they remastered this one, they started doing this with the previous game that they made, which was a brand new one. Um, Everything, all the backgrounds and stuff are done in like a watercolor type of design. So it's really cool. It's not just your generic fake little background. It's just fake watercolor. So it's it's a nice change of artwork, honestly.
Nice touch.
From
Yeah.
your super shiny, fancy looking stuff, it's kind of makes it seem a little realistic too, because it's like a watercolor type style painting in the background and stuff for everything. So it's really good. And if you like soundtracks too to game it goes with games, it has a very excellent soundtrack. Whether it's like danger music, sad music, exciting music, it's very well done. One of the best soundtracks for games I think I've ever encountered. That's not one of your, I don't know, like Mario or Final Fantasy series or anything, that's like those. Highly recommend. So what you got next, Sarah? What you got for us on the list?
I have Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Ooh.
This one may not be as common as the other ones. So I'll read a little bit of a description. Again from Wikipedia. It is a first person survival horror video game developed and published by Kindly Beast under the name of the game's in universe animation studio Joey Drew Studios Incorporated. It was initially released to Game Jolt on February 10th, 2017, and the first of 5 chapters with a full release on October 27th, 2018. A console port published by Rooster Teeth Games was released on November 20th, 2018. On December 21st, 2018, a mobile port was released for iOS and Android. So the game follows Henry Stein, a retired animator who returns to his old animation studio, Joey Drew Studios, from the 1930s after an invitation from his old employer, Joey Drew, and discovers a nightmare of cartoon characters seemingly brought to life by the ink machine.
Bum bum
So,
bum.
yeah, so like it's really good. The reason I started playing it was I worked this summer program with elementary school level kids, and this kid loved a the Impossible remixes with like the piano keys, like the tutorials. You know
Hmm.
what I'm talking about. Okay, well, it was a song from this game, or it was actually a fan song. Anyways, it's based on Bendy and the Ink Machine. So I was like, what is that? And I bought it when I saw it for the Switch, and it was one of the first games I bought for my Switch. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like I was not expecting it. Cuz like I didn't look too much into it before I played it. And it's like, it's nothing like Phasma
Hmm.
what's that game called?
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia. It's nothing like that, but like for someone that doesn't play a lot of like spooky stuff, I was just like, and like I remember one time I was like laying on the bed playing it, and my cat jumped up on the bed and was like, "Whoa," and scared me, scared her, because I was
That's
already
pretty
on
funny.
edge, and she was just like, "Whoa." So that's fun. But yeah, there's 5 chapters, and it's a good game. You can see the development because they did release it chapter by chapter. So you can see like the characters change design throughout that. And it's a good story. Think
Yeah,
Slenderman versus Mickey Mouse.
yeah, I had seen a couple videos on that game, and it reminds me a lot of stuff like Phasmophobia. For those of you who know what that is, it's a PC game. It's spooky stuff.
Spooky.
It'll scare the pants off you and make you want to like literally go to sleep in the light because you're terrified to go to bed. But it didn't really seem too terrifying though, because everything was pretty well lit up, and it's third person too. Those typically aren't too scary, in my opinion at least. I can tolerate that. Phasmophobia is ghost hunting in first person, and yeah, it's downright terrifying. Especially when you can't see crap, even with like the strongest flashlight you can have. It's still horrible, um, but addictive. Um, but yeah, I don't know. There's something that kind of draws me to games like that. I guess just the adrenaline rush that you can get from
Yeah.
them. Plus, doesn't it have like that old timey kind of like what was it, Steamboat Willie type days of Mickey
Yeah.
Mouse
It's
or
set in the
Oswald, whatever it was.
1930s. Yeah.
So it seems really cool. It still looks like it kind of looks like an old film
Yeah.
being played.
It's
Yeah.
really good.
So I thought that was kind of a neat touch to it, especially for games like now. It kind of reminds me of the Little Nightmare series, actually. Just you don't run. It's not a side scroller, basically. I think Little Nightmares is a side scroller. So, but yeah, it definitely looked interesting. I just don't know if I would play it enough to be worth actually buying myself.
Mm-hmm. I've
So,
played it through like 1.5 times, so I need to go back and revisit it in the daylight. It's not like it's scary, you know. It's just there's certain points where you're just like you're on edge the entire time, and then like Bendy will appear, and you have to like stand still, or he'll like chase you and then like inevitably kill you. So like you have to just kind of like be on edge the entire time, and when you see the ink and the music changes, you're like, oh, because he's there.
yeah, I mean that's kind of how it is in stuff like Phasmophobia. Like it's like me personally, I'm more scared just running around trying to find where the ghost is and whether house, a built prison, whatever map I'm on. But once I find where it's at, it's not as bad. It still scares the crap out of you when they spawn or appear or whatever right in front of you, because you get just a random heartbeat super fast because you're staring right at them all of a sudden. But you don't know, like you could just running around the map, you could turn a corner and something just gets thrown off a shelf or something. It scares the crap out of you.
Mm-hmm.
So stuff like that, like until you actually see them, I feel like it's more scary than being chased. Because once you're
Yeah.
being chased, you're like, okay, at least I know where you're at. I'm either
Yeah.
gonna live or die at some point.
What's your next one?
I'm gonna be a little lame here and go with something that's extremely popular and very well known. It's the newest game in the actual Pokemon series. I have Pokemon Sword.
Yes. Yes.
I know you have Pokemon
I have
Shield. We have played
Shield.
quite a lot
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Matt and I actually worked together to complete the Pokedex for the main region. So that's
we're
fun.
kind of a bit of Pokemon nerds, in case you haven't figured that out yet. Yeah, we kind of grinded a little bit for that. It took a while, but eventually we did it.
It was good.
Amazing,
Good project.
amazing graphics. You can
Yeah.
definitely see the evolution of the graphics and stuff throughout any of the games. Honestly, you could go from Gen 1 to Gen 2 and see the difference, which from that it was basically just they added color. It wasn't just black and white.
Like one color. Like 2 colors maybe.
Yeah, like yellow and red. I think were like the only colors they added.
Yep.
But just going from one generation of Pokemon to the next, you can see how much they've advanced with their graphics. And then you get to the Unova region. I think that's Gen 5, maybe. Yeah, Gen 5. And then from that to Gen 6, you get the Kalos region. You go from 2D to 3D all of a sudden. Like it just blew everybody out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And they also introduced Mega Evolution, which blew everybody out of the water even more.
Mega Evolution.
But they've never honestly done a bad story. They've started, I think, kind of running out of ideas for Pokemon. So most of the games now, they've been bringing a lot of Pokemon back from the older games, which is cool because everybody has favorites from all the other games that they
Mhm.
really want to have on their team. Like they just can't. They know they can't go without them. Like I know I
Blaziken.
personally have what
Blaziken.
I know I have a lot. Um, when I last time I had restarted on Pokemon before, well, for this playthrough when I actually completed the Pokedex, I decided, oh hey, I'm gonna try to do a whole dragon team, whole dragon type team because I could get dragon types from like pretty much every generation. Um, so that was really cool because I like a lot of the dragon types. Not specifically that they're dragon type, they just look cool to me. That's usually
Yeah.
what I go based off of, whether they look cool or not, or catch my eye. But they've never really had a bad story with the games. Like I said, graphics have gotten extraordinarily better. This one was extremely cool because not only did they have your typical trading and battling with your friends, it was actually a giant multiplayer game. So they had, big open areas that if you were connected to the internet, you could see other players with their customizable characters because they brought that in like what 2 generations ago, I think, that you can buy different outfits and hats and clothes, shirt, pants, shoes, gloves now, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff to
Everything.
make yourself unique because that's a thing in the world, uniqueness. Not everybody wants to be the same. Even though this kind of missed the nostalgia of being the same character. But anyway,
I miss having to be
back
a
to the
boy.
multiplayer.
I liked having to be a boy the entire time.
You could choose from a girl.
Not the first
Only when you got
one.
to Gen. Yeah. They brought that in with Gen 3. 1 and 2, you were stuck with the
I was a
boys.
boy.
But it's just so cool because they have the Dynamaxing dungeons that you could do and everything. And like, it's just so cool being able to not just see yourself running through this area. You can see all sorts of other people just running around, and you can interact with them. You can go camping together, whether you know them or not. They can come up to your tent if you're camping and just pop in and say hi.
Join me in my
Very
Quagsire.
rudely, but
My
oh dear
Quagsire
Lord,
chasing the ball.
don't do it. It's a trap. Don't do it.
I should have a team
He'll
of
just stand in the
Quagsire.
way. What are you talking about? Quagsire doesn't chase the ball. He just stands there in everybody else's way.
Yeah, type null. It was type null. I need to tell this story. So like I had to evolve type null. That was the last Pokemon I needed to evolve to complete the Pokedex. So I'm playing with it because it evolves by friendship. I'm throwing the ball. So my Quagsire is standing there in front of me, just staring at me, and Type Null can't get through back to me to get me the ball. So Type Null is just trying to run, and Quagsire is just standing there like,
With its creepy little grin just staring at you the whole
It was
time.
the funniest thing.
Oh. God forbid they program Quagsire to actually move away or the other Pokemon to move around Quagsire.
He does play
Or move
sometimes
through
though. It's funny.
or move
Like you throw
through
the
him.
ball and he's just like, and then he's
He just
like
waddles on over.
walks off. Great. If you never camped with Quagsire, go camp with Quagsire right now.
Fair warning, you will probably lose quite a few brain cells doing so, but it's worth it.
Great.
It is quite the experience. That was so dumb. That's probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen on any game, to be honest. Oh.
That's like type null. He can't get through the Quagsire. Like really? Really?
Just sprinting as hard as he can. Quagsire's the most immovable object.
Quagsire's my baby, though. Before we move on, quick shout out to our friend Goodra for the Win on YouTube. We have been on his channel recently, doing the max raid layers, hunting for like shinies. So it's been fun. I'll link his channel below. You can see Matt get kicked out and replaced with William. And
I'm there for
Anyway.
spiritual support, okay?
yeah, he was there, but not there. Okay. But yeah, I'll link Dave's channel below. So go ahead and check that out. So the next two, I have two more and they're kind of similar. So the first one's Stardew Valley,
Ayo.
which I bought recently.
I can get high on some Stardew.
It's available for like everything. But yeah, you take the role of a character who takes over his or her deceased grandfather's dilapidated farm in a place known as Stardew Valley. Open-ended, allowing players to take on activities such as growing crops, raising livestock, crafting goods, mining for ores, selling produce, and socializing with the townspeople, including marriage and having children. It allows up to 3 other players to play together online.
Grab a group of three other friends and 4-man the crap out of it because it's a very fun game.
Yeah.
It follows its own little timeline of a year, but there's 4 months, each month being its own season, so it's weird. But it's not real life time like Animal Crossing was. So
Yeah.
it goes by a little faster.
Yeah.
And the days, it doesn't actually follow normal time for days. So you could complete one day on there in like 30 minutes or less. I mean, you could wake up and crawl back into bed and skip that day if you wanted to. So
I had it on Steam, but I'm not like big on computer games, so I didn't play it a lot, and then I ended up buying it on Switch, and I've been playing it a lot more. Matt and I actually share a farm, so that's fun.
not to mention in that list of stuff she said you could do, you could also fish. And with the most recent update, at least for PC version, I don't think it's come out for Switch or console yet, but they have a giant island you can now explore. It's a new island. Originally, you were just stuck on that little coastal town of Stardew Valley. But yeah, you can go and unlock the island and go there and explore, and there's a crap load more to do. I've yet to finish exploring it on my PC map that I have, version I have. It's very enjoyable. Like I said, the game, it's something you can do that's, if you're half asleep, it's mind-numbingly tedious, kind of, depending on what you're doing that said day, like whether you have a lot to do or just a little to do. And it's not really, if I had to describe its gameplay, I would say it's like Minecraft crossed with Farm Simulator. So there's farming, but there's still like stuff you could fight in like some of the caves and mines you go in and stuff on Stardew. There's fishing in both Minecraft and Stardew, farming, livestock, I mean, all sorts of different things. So it's kind of similar to both. The graphics are they're not like super fancy graphics. It's a simple little game. Soundtrack's amazing to the game. It's very peaceful and calming. The only time it's not really calming is when you're about to die in the mine or whatever and lose half of your stuff. But that's just you. The mines hate you. They don't like you.
Ooh, it's a conspiracy.
Like, oh, that Sarah lady's back. Get her, boys, get her. Which, like Sarah said, though, you can befriend people and choose somebody to marry. And for anybody out there, I think you can do same-sex marriage too. You could also even marry your friends. So if you're playing multiplayer, you could, and so like Sarah and I, the farm we share, if we wanted to, we could have our characters marry.
Oh no.
Which would be quite awkward because Sarah herself is actually married.
I am married.
Which she has actually trolled her husband saying she can marry me.
Yeah,
he
he
just
was
kind of
just
looked
like,
at her.
Okay.
You could really just feel the tension that he wanted to kill me, but
Nah, he was just like, yeah. Oh yeah, same-sex
Oh,
marriage is
Jeremy.
available.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought so. I thought somebody had told me that it was, because this person's played it way more than I have.
Yep.
But anyway,
Um, I'm reading this game is actually heavily inspired by Harvest Moon video game series, and the developer added stuff to address some of the shortcomings of those games, if I could speak. Which I've played one Harvest Moon game before, and they are both similar in the sense that you do like own a farm, and in the one I played, I had a farm, I had livestock, and I could marry one of the townspeople. But yeah, they're both good games. Uh, both of them have again got me through some rough times. Music and everything, very relaxing. But yeah, good stuff.
heck yeah. It's always good to calm the nerves after a rough day.
Yeah. I remember one night, it was a few weeks ago, I was having a rough day, and I just stayed up half the night playing Stardew, and I was just like, nothing else matters. I'm just gonna grow my crops, and it'll be fine. I'm gonna go ahead and continue real quick, and just because
Okay.
this one directly connects to Stardew, sort of. Um, so then it's called Cattails, and I I bought this game. It was on sale. It was like $5, I think. And the reviews literally say, like Stardew Valley, except cats. So basically, take Stardew Valley, like we just said, and pretend it's cats. I'll insert some video clips over top of us talking here. Sorry, you get to miss our beautiful faces, but yeah, so it's kind of similar. You basically as a cat, you're abandoned by your people, and this other cat finds you and takes you to the forest colony where you are accepted there and you live there and you learn how to like hunt and scavenge, and eventually there is like an end goal. I'm not going to give too much away, but you have to gather stuff up for that. You can marry other cats and have a litter of kittens. There's also like a cave section very similar to the mining section in Stardew, where you have to go down mines and like you gather ore and stuff, and like there's bats you have to fight. So it's super similar, but it is super good. It's super relaxing. I actually was reading I'm on their website right now, but one of the developers' cats is actually in the game. Like you can talk to the developer's cat. Yeah, it's really good. I'd check it
That's
out.
pretty funny.
If you've played Stardew and you like Stardew, check out Cattails. Um,
Especially
yeah,
if you're a crazy cat lady, check out Cattails.
I love
Sarah will
cats.
highly recommend that to anybody.
I love
If you like
cats.
cats,
And
Sarah will highly recommend it.
yeah, cats, relaxing soundtrack. You can't get much better than that.
My next game is yet another RPG role play game. Kind of sort of apocalyptic, or is apocalyptic. I haven't actually beat it. I kind of stopped playing it a while back. It is part of the Xenoblade Chronicles. I can't remember which one specifically. Um, I can get you the exact one specifically so you can put correct pictures and videos. However, basically, it's basically man versus machine, and you're living on these giant beasts that represent Earth and machine, basically. And they were clashing eons upon eons ago in the past. And well, they just kind of up and stopped moving or died, whatever, whichever one. Both, maybe, I don't know. See all of the above. Um, and basically, you try to stop the never-ending onslaught of machines, but the machines keep on evolving. But there's this sword that the humans can get that is basically anti-machine, and the machines fear it, but you have to find out how to unlock all of its power. And it's a very long game, especially if you try to do all the side quests, because as you get through each area, which each area is massive on its own, if you plan on exploring every inch of it, which I've done, which is kind of why I stopped playing, because I crap myself out of it, like other games. Um, when you get to another area, you can unlock another side quest like 10 areas back. So then you got to backtrack, but there is fast traveling, so you can do that at least. Thank goodness, because I'd cry if I didn't have fast traveling. um, I don't even know if I'm honestly halfway through the game. It is just such a massive game, to be honest. Story is very well done. Um, characters are well played, well placed and done. All their stories coincide very well. Um, it's got its exciting moments, its funny moments, its sad moments, its angry moments. Um, one thing that I don't quite understand that they've done with the game is even in the very first area and all the way through up to where I've played through so far, I'm only, I think, I don't know, around like level 30 maybe with my characters. But there's all sorts of enemies that are like level 80 and above. And if I piss them off and they hit me, I just die instantly because there's such a huge level gap. But it's definitely, I've never really played a Xenoblade before this one. I don't necessarily know if they're all connected. I think this is a kind of a side story, so I think the main story ones are all kind of connected, maybe. But I've always watched some videos on it. It was just one of those games I never was sure if I would like it or not. But after playing the YS game that I talked about earlier, um, I was wanting another RPG game to play that I haven't played before. And I was looking through the store and I came across that and I looked at the trailer and some gameplay for it. I was like, oh, it's not bad actually. So I tried it and I've come to like it. Fighting style is a little weird in it. It's automatic. It's free roam. You don't just run into an enemy and it pulls up a battle scene sequence thing or whatever. Not like the early Final Fantasies or anything. Um, if you know what those are. But so it's automatic battle. They swing on their own at their own whatever set pace the game has for them. But the only thing you get to do is choose when they use their abilities. So that's kind of why I think I more or less turned away from it, because it wasn't as battle-y. I don't know if that's a thing, as I thought it would be. I thought it would be a little more similar to YS, the YS series, where you have to try to dodge and attack all on your own. So it's a little more strategy to it. This game has strategy, like there's like break abilities to like stun the enemies, or if they have a shield, there's shield break abilities, different types of things, or there's just straight damage abilities. So you got to know what to use and when to use it, basically. But overall, it's a very excellent story, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Graphics are amazing. I'd at least give it an 8 out of 10, if anything, at least. So
Sweet.
definitely a series to check out if you like RPGs. So it's kind of high tech, but also not. I mean, people use swords, but there's also like guns and machinery in the game, and there's also magic. So it's like your typical fantasy thing, but high techy. So it's kind of a cross between both, which is kind of cool. So it's not just your typical knights versus goblins or whatever. It's futuristic knights versus machines. Not bad. Not a bad series. I enjoy it. I need to get back into it.
Well, I don't have any more games on my list.
I don't really either. That's about all I've touched. I mean, some of the ones you talked about are also ones that I had. So
I didn't expect
right
it to be
on.
this long. Yeah, it's been fun.
It's always fun talking about games or favorite hobbies, especially when you share it in common with somebody.
And that's it for this video. For some reason, I didn't record a proper outro on the Zoom call. Thanks, Matt, for joining me on this video. I'm going to link every website clip that I used in the video description. So if you want to check out the games, go ahead and do so. If you're looking for Nintendo Switch games, there you go. If you're looking for someone for a friend, you know, Valentine's Day coming up in a few days, so if you want to get yourself or your loved one something, this is a good video for you to watch. But yeah, again, thank you, Matt, for being on. Thank you for all the video game developers that made these really cool games. So without further ado, I'm going to sign off. Be sure to like this video, leave me a comment if you wish, and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next video.